Christian, it looks Harold Fannin seems to catch everything. Is that an exaggeration, or am I close to being on the mark?
You are very close to on the mark. He's got really strong hands. He tracks the ball well, and you see it on tape every time he's been playing. When you study him, and where we were getting ready to see what he would be for us, and the guy catches everything, tracks the ball well, and really adjusts to the ball in the ball in the air well.
You guys got him marked for a drop at all since rookie minicamp?
I had to go back in the files. I don't think he's had a drop, an easy drop. He might have had a contested catch drop, but I don't think he had one.
Christian, what about his after the catch creation ability? It seems like that's something that shows up on his college film too. How have you guys seen that? I know it's no contact.
Yeah, he's decisive and he's balanced. He has a lot of balance in his play, so he really tacklers fall off of him. He tends to keep his feet running when somebody's coming at him, and he does a really good job of knowing whether to split or just make one miss and being really efficient in how he runs the ball. I think that's where he really shows up, is he's balanced and efficient. And that's something you're always going to see, is that accumulates into extra yards, and somebody pops up and you're like, oh, wow, why does he have 800, 900 yards? And it's because of those little decisions. So I would say that.
What's the biggest adjustment for a young tight end coming into the NFL? What's the thing they have to learn?
I would say the breadth of the playbook, as well as the amount of defensive looks that you have to look at. Even in the offseason, right, you're facing normal four-step four-down fronts, but Schwartz's defense, they'll put anything in, they'll run anything. So now he's looking at a 6-1 front, he's looking at some kind of under front, like it could be anything, and he has to be ready to think quickly, as well as be ready for 10, 12, 30 different calls on the day.
Do you think people understand how complicated playing tight end is in the NFL?
It's a little underappreciated. It's starting to be appreciated more, but I still think there's a lot to learn about playing tight end in the NFL.
What about David? I know we only saw him out here these handful of days, but what just have been your first impressions of working with him, first of all?
He brings a lot of energy.
Yeah.
He loves football and brings a lot of energy, and he wants to be out there playing and supporting his teammate. I think that's something that I've seen from the day he came in, and when we talked a little bit earlier before I even got to Cleveland, is he loves his teammates, wants to play, and he wants to get back to the level that he's been at. He really takes his game seriously, and that's been great to have in the room and for guys to see.
On the scale of tight end appreciation, you said we've made some progress there.
Yeah.
What progress have we made, and then what do we still not quite?
Well, we finally have a tight end appreciation day, right? We got tight ends day. We got T-shirts that are going around the league. So I'd say it's that, and it's using bigger personnels to try and create passing opportunities, right? Or staying in smaller personnels to run the ball. It's just being versatile in how you approach the game and how you approach game planning, and using tight ends in different positions. They don't always have to block. They don't always have to run routes that are love of the game. Now, we love those. We need to do those, right? But tight ends can be playmakers, and I think we're starting to see a lot more athletic players show up, and I think the game will change as that happens.
This position under Kevin Stefanski has been sort of a proving ground. So
Yeah.
It's a position he really values.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a big part of it, that you have to be involved in so many aspects of the offense and just sort of understand every piece of the offense?
Yeah, you hit it right on the money. You have to be involved in every aspect of the offense, and you typically don't have as much meeting time as quarterbacks would get, right? When special teams are going on, the tight ends are in special teams meetings, so you have to be really efficient with your time. And typically the tight ends have to be really smart, because they have to be able to digest everything quickly and apply that on the field, right? And they have to do a lot of studying on their own. So you got to find guys that are self-sufficient, want to work, will look for you to work, but also will do it on their own as well. So it takes a lot of work in the building and outside, I would say.
When you talk about David being so motivated, I know you weren't here last year with him, but he went through so many nagging injuries. Has he talked about that or expressed frustration with last year and wanting to put that behind him, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, he had a tough year last year, a lot of things going on with injuries, and I think he fought through them all well. He's always going to try and be out on the field, and that's something that I've heard and seen expressed from him. And yeah, it's visible frustration. When you ask him how the last year went, that's the first thing we talk about, right? Is injuries, how it held him back, and what he wants to do as a player, right? Be out there every game that he can and play as many snaps as he can. And I think that's something that he's aiming to do this year, and I'm excited to see it.
Given everything that's on a tight end's plate, then you add in the fact that Harold was kind of late to the position, how do you balance pushing him and being patient with him?
Oh, it's going to be all pushing. You got to push him and make it and see where, at some point rookies always hit a wall, right, with the installs, with the amount of defenses they see. So you try to push them up until that wall and then find new ways to teach them, new ways to help them learn, new ways to retain information, so that way they can keep pushing past it. I think that's something that always happens. Guys, once you get to install whatever 5, 6 guys it starts to flood their head. You got to find ways to bring them back, think through things clearly, and then approach it maybe a different way.
Big picture, obviously the tight end has come a long way. What's the future of nutrition?
That's a great question. I think as the game evolves, as nutrition gets better, weight training continues to grow, and players, obviously guys are getting bigger, faster, stronger, so I think you're just going to see a lot more athletic players out there, and I think you're going to see guys running a lot more unique routes. I think there's a lot of tight ends in the class this year that are really athletic and could go out and line up at number 1 and run routes and win. And Harold's done that in college as well, so I think you're going to see a lot of tight ends that can be efficient receivers both in the slot attached and even out at number 1 versus press coverage. I think that'll happen at some point.
Apologize for this, but what were your emotions when you guys drafted Harold? Like, what was just kind of going through your head when you were like, you came off the board, you knew guys were going to take it?
It was kind of a whirlwind because I kind of was just sitting there waiting to see what would happen. Like, it's a little bit different in every team, but once I saw the name flash up, it was a lot of excitement, and I got to know him through the process. So I was honestly just more happy for him and excited for him and his family. He'd been through a lot, and his family been through a lot, and getting to meet them. They're all really close, and they all support each other. So I know what it means for a family to have somebody accomplish something. Everybody feels like they helped. So I was more excited for them.
When you kind of talked about this time, and just knowing all that getting to know him, how special was that of you being able to see his excitement in the moment, on the other side of the phone?
Yeah, it was great. I couldn't see much because he was trying to put his ear to the phone to hear me because there was a lot of screaming going on. But I could tell by, you could tell by the tone and everything that's going on in the background that they were excited. So that's all I really needed to see. All I told him was it's time to work, right? I'm not here to high five you. I shake your hand, tell you congratulations, but once you step in the building, it's time to go to work. So that's the first thing I told him. That's what I tell him every day.